Ladies and gentlemen, Rex Bear, Leak Project, how the heck are you? Hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. What I am sharing with you right now on the screen I think is absolutely awesome. And these are Goldstone radar images of definitely looks like an artificial satellite or spacecraft or space junk or something. Now, it's being classified as an asteroid, of course. And even though this is from NASA.gov website, it's not a NASA satellite. It's actually a radar technology that's used here on the ground. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's various technologies that are used to pick up what's in the stars or what's in the heavens. And you've seen these satellites for years. They've been, at least 40, 50 years. Some of these different radar systems have been in play. And this image right here, I feel, is nothing short of extraordinary. I think this is absolutely awesome. And I'm going to get into details about this image here in a minute. But I also want to share with you some other points of discussion that we are going to have here today. And that is the article that came out, phys.org. This was in 2015. And you can read all about it. I've left the link in the video description box. Will an asteroid 2012 TC4 hit Earth in October 2017? And I find it fascinating how the news works and some of these mainstream articles that get information fed to them. Well, there might be a potentially catastrophic asteroid impact in 2 years, and then people forget about it 2 days later. It's like, well, we told you all about it. It's not our fault you forgot. And there's tons of these things. I actually read back in 2015 even, there were over 1,500 potentially hazardous comets in the Oort cloud, which is outside of the Kuiper Belt. That's just one area. And with all the strange manipulation that we're seeing with the stratospheric aerosol injections, I wonder if there's more to the story than just possibly other planets that are within orbit. And I want to add to that, you guys, because my official take on Planet X, let's get this settled here. There's definitely a Planet X. There's a Planet 11. There's a Planet 12. There's a Planet 13. There's a Planet 23. There's a Planet 9,999. There's planets more than that. So the official Planet X hypothesis, though, that many people link their minds to because of the neurolinguistic programming tactics that the media and the industrial medical, or not medical, but the mind control industrial complex is so good at using, the medical industry as well, people will link Planet X to automatic either Zecharia Sitchin or Nibiru or Doom or ancient prophecies of destruction. And I feel that might be why there's so much suppression of Planet X and the discussion of these other planets in general, because I will do very neutral discussions on Planet X, and the amount of trolls that come out is just mind-blowing. And I'm not even spreading doom. I'm just showing data and orbits, and I'm even explaining that these planets that are considered to be Planet X, Planet 11, Planet 12, Planet 13 are far out, far, far, far away. Like we're talking 150 times the distance of the sun, 150 astronomical units, some of them even farther than that. They're called trans-Neptunian objects, and they're literally planets. There's dozens of them that have been discovered, and later on today, I will probably do a podcast specifically on many of these planets that have been discovered that actually orbit the sun. They just do it over very long periods of time, and they've got these really sporadic and weird orbits, and it's quite incredible. But let's go back to this article right now. Will the asteroid 2012 TC4 hit Earth in October 2017? Let me just read a quick excerpt from the website. I think that the phys.org is a great website for information and science and data and a lot less woo-woo. So the asteroid 2012 TC4 is slated to whiz by Earth dangerously close. The exact distance of its closest approach is uncertain, as well as its size. Based on observations in October 2012, when the space rock missed our planet, astronomers estimate that its size could vary from 12 to 40 meters. The meter that exploded over Russia, the city of Shelzebnitsk, said that wrong, I'm sorry, I love you guys in Russia, in February 2013, injuring 1,500 people and damaging over 7,000 buildings. It was about 20 meters wide. So this one's a lot bigger. And let's go to the Goldstone solar system radar. That is not a satellite. So for those of you that say, it's not real, man, satellites are fake, all satellites aren't real, which is silly. The Goldstone Solar System Radar, or GSSR, is a large radar system used by investigating objects in the solar system located in the desert near Barstow, California. It comprises a 500 kilowatt X-band, 8,500 megahertz transmitter, and a low noise receiver in the 70M DSS-14 antenna at the Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex. It has been used to investigate Mercury, Venus, Mars, the asteroids, and moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The most comparable facility is the radar at the Arcebu, I don't know where that is, observatory. I probably said that wrong. I apologize. Now, let's go back here to this object. Let's take a look at this for a minute. This thing is fascinating. Does that look natural to you? Does that look like it is a natural space rock just flying in space, orbiting? And do you know how they discovered this? They discovered this by looking for, they were pinning the J025 2014 asteroid, which has been linked to the rock, and it just had its closest orbit yet. And then there was news afterward, just a month after, that said it made it even closer orbit, and now people are saying that's misinformation. I'm wondering if that specific anomaly, that J025, could be more than just a space rock. Now, I could be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong. And I could be wrong on this as well. This could be some type of natural cosmic anomaly that just looks like a spaceship, that looks like a piece of space junk, satellite, whatever, but it's huge. It's huge. And, if I go back, let's zoom out here a little bit. The Goldstone radar images, so you guys know exactly when it was taken, February 6, 2017 at 1:24 through 1:52. That would be AM because it looks like it's in military time. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Does that look natural to you? Now, we'll go back to the asteroid TC4. I did some research into that. Just told you a little bit about the setup out here, the planetary observations, and it can work in two different modes. It can work in a monostatic radar mode as well as transmit and receive. So most astronomy facilities only receive. This one offers both. So it's definitely a step above the rest. Now, this is the 2017 BQ6, the strange anomaly in the sky. And this right here is from Wikipedia. This will give you a different perspective. I mean, and look at how flat that is. It's just odd. So here is a orbit. You can look at the orbit of the actual object here in question. And let's zoom in a little bit here so you can see down Uranus, Mars, Venus. It'll be doing like a flyby. And it's amazing how they can track it with such far distances. I find that quite fascinating. And this is from the center of the Earth. Looks like right there you can see some more data over here. The astronomical units and distance from each of the planets. Wow, it sun to Earth at moon, 0.0 astronomical units. Okay, so we'll go to the next image here, and this gives you a rotation, the animation of the actual object. Let's go over here to an actual artist's conception of the Boeing. What is this? Conspiracy is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here's another artist's impression. So I want to go back to the object in question here. Let's take a look at this for a moment while this is moving around. And you can see virtually every angle there is a straight line. Now remember, God doesn't build in straight lines. This is an interesting article from NASA. NASA radar spots relatively large asteroid prior to flyby. So this is in reference to the 2014 J025. Now, using the radar images obtained by NASA, a 230-foot wide, 70-meter deep space network antenna at the Goldstone, California. Now, this asteroid has a contact binary structure, 2 lobes connected by a neck-like region, and the largest of the asteroid's 2 lobes is estimated to be 2,000 feet across. That is intense. That is absolutely intense. So if you look at this image right here, you're going to see the way that it's connected there. Does that look like an asteroid to you, or does that look like it might be some type of UFO, some type of space anomaly, spaceship? Literally, I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, you know, I do like to go out there a little bit, but seriously, that does not look like your typical, almost looks like a space dragon or a serpent or something, you know, and it rotates and it moves. And I know, I understand that the radar that's hitting it based upon the molecular structure is going to dictate how light it is based upon other parameters, but I just think that's fascinating. And, you know, you can kind of see, here's another image right there. It's very bizarre how it's attached to something and it's kind of, you know, moving around in space like this. It's very interesting. So, good stuff. And let's see, let's zoom out of this here. Let's go back to Sophia. Now, I heard from many people that listen to Leak Project, they said, Rex, you got to check this out. There is a ship that has been, you know, like, it looks, I don't know, it's like a B, not a ship, but it's a plane. It's a B-52, I think, or B-52. Remember those guys? The B-52s. Wow. Yeah, I served them in a restaurant once when I was I was 15. Yeah, so anyway, I'm navigating. They showed up. They spent like $20 in food. They gave me a $20 tip. I was 15 at the time. I felt like just a rock star, literally. And I didn't even know it was them until they left, which is pretty funny because my boss told me. But I meant the B-1 bomber, or the Boeing, it's not a B-1 bomber, it's a Boeing 747P, and it has a distinguished history. Now, this specific plane, the way that it was outfitted, is the Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. It's the largest airborne observatory in the world, capable of making observations that are impossible for even the largest and highest ground-based telescopes. During its planned 20-year lifetime, Sophia also will inspire the development of new scientific instrumentation, and foster the education of young scientists and engineers. Awesome. So it's a flying observatory. It's a 747 flying observatory with an opportunity to see things via infrared. It's studying the universe using visible light spectrum, results in a very limited view. As you can see from the 2 images here, you can see Saturn with the Sophia infrared setup. And hey, that might make you wonder, why are they sending an observatory out into space, you know, not into space, but into orbit? You know, how high is it going? About as high as commercial planes go, maybe a little bit higher, probably a little bit higher. But it's looking for something with infrared. So, you know, it's looking for things that are cloaked almost, or that you can't see in the typical light spectrum. And I'm going to add something really cool to that hypothesis, is I've got an article about how many comets could actually be cloaked from a scientific community respected, you know, a respected scientific community source. And I'll share that with you here in a minute. So we've got Sophia out there looking for something. There's multiple asteroids that are flying past, that are shaving past the Earth, just going right by, and we don't hear about it until after. I think there's something more to the story than they're telling us. Okay, it's flying around 40,000 feet. Thank you very much for clarifying that. You guys are awesome. It's so nice that you guys can join me here at the Leak Project, because there's certain things that I'll miss, and then if I have a chance to jump into the comments section real quick, somebody will be able to answer that question for me. So that is much appreciated. Really glad all you guys are here. It makes it a lot more exciting to do this with such an incredible audience. It wouldn't be nearly as much fun without you guys. I used to do a lot more of these pre-recorded, and it looks like because of the response we're getting, I'll start to do more live shows. So if you guys would want me to continue to keep doing the live shows, please just let me know in the comment section. And let's go back to Sophia and the infrared universe. So, You can see here they're looking for star births and deaths, the formation of new solar systems, the identification of complex molecules in space, planets, comets, asteroids in our solar system, nebulas, dust and galaxies, ecosystems of galaxies, black holes at the center of galaxies, and many other opportunities, like this flying saucer, not flying saucer, but this thing that looks like a UFO that we just were looking at a moment ago. Now, here is another interesting article that I told you I was going to share with you. This is from the SETI Institute, SETI.org. Observations of Ceres indicate that asteroids might be camouflaged. This came out January 18th of this year. The appearance of small bodies in the outer solar system could be deceiving. Asteroids and dwarf planets may be camouflaged with an outer layer of material that actually comes from somewhere else. How bizarre is that? What does that mean? Using data primarily now let me give you my take on this strange space rock that's like floating through space that looks man-made. I think that could be the remnants of some type of spacecraft that was just enormous at one time, and it somehow broke apart in space, and what we're seeing is the remnants of this huge space artifact that could be from a previous war. That's what I think it could be. And hey, it could just be a comet. It could just be an asteroid. Not a comet. It could just be an asteroid. I get it. I like my story a lot better, though. My idea is a lot more exciting. And if you look at the straight lines of that thing, it definitely makes you question the status quo. Now, let's go. Like, for example, if you believe these prophecies of these space wars and these events that have taken place for eons, well, where does all the space junk go? And people a lot of times speculate about why they don't see real pictures of the Earth. I think it's because there's a lot of stuff around the Earth that they don't want to see in. There's a lot of stuff around the Earth they don't want to see in. And there could be, the continents and stuff like that on the planet. They could be shaped a little bit differently. I mean, I think there's got to be certain parameters that you got to hit up on because people have been around the world. People have tracked where they've gone via GPS and stuff like that. But and here's another thing too. I was reading a Sumerian text for those of you out there that say the Bible says the earth is flat, so I believe the earth is flat. I read a Sumerian text this morning that said the earth is round, and it's older than anything in the Bible by at least a couple thousand years. Now I'm just going to leave it at that. So these camouflaged asteroids, now they have technologies to be able to pick up on these asteroids with the infrared stuff. So here you can see Ceres, and you can see this dust that covers the surface that makes it difficult to see with typical technologies. And then you go into the actual data. If you want to see from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in connection with NASA, Solar System Dynamics, you can look at the 2012 TC4, which is and they call it an Apollo near-Earth object, which could have potential catastrophic opportunities. I mean, this isn't good. And they can't keep track of these things perfectly when they're only 40 meters in width, because they're obviously going to move around based upon occurrences that are just going outside in space, in the cosmos, and the way that everything works out there. It is what it is. If we're all connected at the quantum level that I can explain, I can't explain gravity yet, except for I know if you jump up, you're going to land, but I can't explain that in detail yet because I haven't taken a course on it. There's plenty of people that can. But my point is, when we're all connected to the quantum level, if you touch that frequency that's, let's say, 7 hertz down, and then it will affect the rest of the frequency band. So it's all connected at some level. So if something gets closer to an object that's of a stronger force, and they both have maybe either opposing, like magnets, or they are both positives or both negatives, so they kind of push each other away. So if you've got a positive and a negative planet and they get close to each other, then you might have some problems there based upon the elements of the planets. I'm just basing that off of the limited amounts that I know about magnets, and that's not very much either. So don't quote me on any of that stuff. This is just stuff that's going through my mind right now. But let's go back to, this is very interesting, the list of hyperbolic comets. And I was talking to you guys before about the Oort cloud, how it's outside of the Kuiper belt, and how there's over 1,500, and this is just since 2015. There's been more since then. This was in 2015. 1,500 potentially hazardous comets and asteroids in this region. So here's the Oort cloud. Here is the Kuiper belt. And this is another very good image, I feel, on Wikipedia. And here's one thing, too, that I want to let you guys know about Wikipedia, because I've read a few comments where people have said, Rex, there's a lot of stuff that can be manipulated on Wikipedia. I get it. I will actually cross-reference what I go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia oftentimes is just a good source to find other information, other links, other data. And then you can come up with your own conclusions. It's all about data. It's all about intel. It's all about as much information as you can gather, and then you can decide what connects and what doesn't, and what to throw away and what to keep. So here's the Oort cloud. Here's the inside of the, here's interstellar space. You can see right here, here's our planets. And then you've got the trans-Neptunian planets or objects, the trans-Neptunian objects that will come in our solar system and go out of our solar system. So with the limited amount of knowledge that I do have on gravity and physics and such, when you have these large planets that are moving in and out of the solar system, even though they're on very erratic cycles, that could make sense when you read about some of these ancient prophecies if you link the timelines and if you also connect how long the orbits are. Somebody else very intelligent left a comment in the comment section about how the timeline of Iris, the planet Iris, which was labeled Planet 10 because it was considered the 10th planet at the time, because Pluto was still considered a planet, and Pluto now is upgraded to a planet again, ladies and gentlemen. So literally, this specific planet, the planet Erie, is Planet 10. It is Planet X. It's all in the parameters that you want to use. Now, it has a very intense orbit, and it goes extremely far out. So I don't see this thing causing any havoc on our planet where we need to worry about going underground in a missile silo. I will tell you the images that I've seen via infrared and via other technologies show it to look like a winged planet that has been talked about in prophecies, because that's most likely what these people saw. And if you want to go to the thought process of Venus was at one point not a part of our solar system and was captured in our solar system, well, that's how the ancients would have seen it as well. Things change, but they stay the same at the same time. Figure that one out, ladies and gentlemen. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. So I think this is incredible. Now, this is just a fascinating comet. And for those of you that don't know the difference between a comet and an asteroid, well, an asteroid is going to have more metals, and a comet is going to have ice, and it's still going to have other elements and such, and they're still both very catastrophic. But that is just the basic rundown. I know there's more to it, and it's more complicated than that. Just for a quick cliff note. All right, so where are we going to go now? Let's take a look at this. I found this to be quite fascinating. This is an image that you can go to ScienceDaily.com and look at, and it looks like an eye. It looks like the cosmic eye, the all-seeing eye. And this actually shows you how planets are created. So, at least that's what they think. So you've got this cosmic eye, and in the center, the pupil, that's where the planet is created. And then you can get into the as above, so below. You can talk about the connections of quantum physics and all being connected to the same self, and art mimics reality, reality mimics art. We see things in parables and symbols. And then like for example, we were looking at the rhinovirus the other day on Leak Project, right? And I showed you the 5-pointed star embedded in that virus that could have been man-made. And then you can get into semantics, and then you can get into sacred geometry, and then you can get into the holographic universe possibility, hypothesis. And if you connect all those dots, that would explain how some people can flow through source and just information just goes through them because they've found a way to tap into that universal consciousness. Everything has some type of consciousness. Everything. Your table, as crazy as this sounds, because of the wood that makes up that table, or whatever it is that makes up that table, whatever element at the quantum level has some type of consciousness. It has to. I'll tell you why. I'll explain to you why. Not tell you, I'll explain to you why. This is my theory. You can disagree with me on this if you want to, and I'm more than welcome to listen to your opinions. Protons, neutrons, electrons have to oscillate in a certain frequency. They have a certain orbit. If they didn't have that orbit, it wouldn't be the same element. It would decay, it would fall apart. If you look at a carbon atom, it has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, and that's why many people when they read the New Testament in Revelation, when it says the mark of man is 6 threefold, would think that that might be the scientific sense of 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons makes up a carbon atom, and people are made up of mainly carbon atoms and water. And then you look at the sun box in numerology of the representation of what the ancients looked at with our sun in a numerological aspect. And if you know what a magic box is, it will represent the same number as the sum at each end. So the sun represents 666 as well. And the sun of light is source. Without the sun, without light, plants wouldn't grow, and we wouldn't have the opportunities that we have. Even light itself is an energy source, is a life source, is form, and that could be one of the highest aspects of form. But this right here I find fascinating because of the connections with how similar it looks to the eye, to your eye in the creation. It's the spark, it's the imagination, and when you think something and you see something, you come up with your own interpretation of it in your mind through the eye. So it's a very fascinating image indeed. So I appreciate you guys joining me here at the Leak Project, and I would also recommend, if you haven't already, become a premium member at theleakproject.com, and also subscribe to youtube.com/clandestine time lord, because you'll get access to, I think we've got over 800 podcasts on here now. If you want them commercial free, and if you want to be able to download them, and if you want access to the exclusive section, then if you go to leakproject.com, there's premium content on there. But another thing, I've only been on here for about a half hour, and I think that I've explained pretty good what I wanted to on these asteroids. Maybe we could jump back over here for those of you that are just joining us here now on the live show. Let's go back and take a look at these images again from the Goldstone radar, and these strange straight lines. Right here, and here's another possibility as well. Of course, when information is released to the public, if it looks, if it's too revealing, then powers that be will usually find a way, the certain institutions that are there to safeguard this information, they can Photoshop it, they can manipulate it, they can smudge it, they can add things to it, they can take away, they can take an image and make it look almost identical to that one and say this was the original image, that one's the fake one. There's a lot of different tactics that can be used to manipulate not only the flow of information that's available in the alternative communities, but as well as the mainstream. So oftentimes the best place to hide something is in plain sight. So we're looking at right now an image that I'm telling you guys, now remember, this isn't a satellite image, okay? This is, for those of you that are just joining us, this is not a satellite image. This is radar imaging. This is old school technology combined with new school technologies. And just look at how flat that is. I mean, does that look natural to you? Now, remember the Prometheus saying, where God doesn't build in straight lines, and the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, how the serpents and angles, and the serpents hide in specific angles, and you want to stay in a circular motion. So that way, in my opinion, I feel that you have infinite possibilities within a circular flow versus the finite Borg cube of Saturn type archetype that is finite, the straight lines, the encompassing of organic self, divine source, divine providence, spark within ourselves. And somebody brought to my attention earlier today as well on the Leak Project. Once again, you guys just got to go through the Leak Project comments if you want to get some good humor and some really good data, because there's both. It's a combination. If you can deal with there's some nasties out there too that leave comments, and I do my best to eliminate that if it gets really bad. If I find it, I'll get rid of it. Sometimes someone will bring to my attention that I missed something, and I'm just doing as much as I can here in giving you guys the most that I can, I feel. So, work with me on that. And if you see something that's out of line, please send me an email if somebody leaves a bad comment and I don't get to it. Constructive criticism is great. I love constructive criticism. I love it. It's awesome. And I absolutely love it if somebody can present information to me that will give me a different viewpoint towards something that I believed in before. I'm willing to accept that. And I hope that you guys are too, because, the more that we're willing to accept that we can be wrong and learn a new opportunity, some new information, well, that can connect dots and help us get to another level of understanding, and then we can help people get to different levels of understanding, etc. So I'm wondering if this could be also another possibility is some type of black night satellite. You know, the black night satellite that we hear about that's about 12,000 years old. It's probably even older than that. Where did it come from? Who put it there? Was it one of our previous generations that made it through the cataclysms? Is it some type of like, could it also be some type of a housing place, like, you know, space station? How big is it? And why have we been able to get little bits and pieces of information about it, but not more than just, oh, it's 12,500 years old. Oh, we don't know what it is. Oh, yeah, it's just there in space. Yeah, it's right there. I don't know. Okay, let's see. What else do I got for you? Okay, we'll jump back to the TC4 that was discovered in 2012. They didn't give us information on it until 2015, really, in the public realms. And then now, just a few months away, everybody forgot about it. Nobody's thinking about it anymore. It's still there. They told us, but we don't got to worry about it because, you know, this stuff happens every single day. Now, first of all, I'm not worried about this. I don't think it's going to hit Earth. I think it's good to know what's going on. I think it's good to know the possibilities. And also, when you find out how there's 1,500 of these things that have been discovered recently, actually a couple of years ago, there's probably a lot more now, then you might wonder, okay, so maybe, once again, that's why we don't see images of our planet and outer space that much, because there could be Star Wars type technologies out there, like literally laser type stuff that's blasting these comets and getting rid of all the space junk and the space debris. And, you know, I remember when I was a little kid hearing about the Star Wars program that Ronald Reagan was discussing, and then nobody was talking about it. Everybody's, oh yeah, they quit funding it. It's not going on anymore. Nothing to see here. That could be one of the biggest secrets that is few people know about, and those that even do know about it think it's just, you know, yesterday's news, think there's nothing of it. Could you guys imagine some type of Star Wars system out there where they've got like a full grid over our planet with different garrison technologies that could, you know, magnet technologies, frequency technologies, radar technologies, different abilities to not only track but influence heavenly bodies? That's something that I've considered as well. I think that would make more sense. And I want to I'm going to go through the Sumerian stuff again so I can share with you guys that passage where the Sumerians were talking about the earth as a globe, as being round. But that was pretty awesome. That would be good to share with people that really fall into the prophecy mindset of the shape of the planet. And once again, thank you for being here with me. If you guys are interested in an opportunity to possibly have a survival network or a survival setup off grid, there is a location in South Dakota, and it's called X Point. I'm going to be out there here probably in the next few weeks, and in August there's going to be an event we're going to do for Sturgis, because we know a lot of people that enjoy motorcycling and they don't want to spend $1,000 a night for a hotel that they have to book a year in advance. This is about 2 hours away from Sturgis, and it makes a beautiful motorcycle ride because you can go up through the Black Hills and it's close to the Badlands. Well, these are 2,000 square foot bunkers, approximately. Some of them are a little bit bigger. And they were designed by the military during World War II to house munitions. So they're very stable, they're very sturdy, they're made of concrete and steel, and they're $25,000 right now if you want to purchase one. Water will be provided by Robert. He is the founder of Vivos. He has a connection to a well out there that's about 4,000 feet underground, I mean. So he is going to provide water for the people that purchase these bunkers. They're open shells, so they're like open canvases, and you can retrofit them inside just about however you want. You can have like an RV, and you can park your RV next to one of these things, and then you can retrofit the inside slowly. But these things are awesome. And you open and close the doors, and it's like the most intense bank vault on steroids. I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. And the price points are amazing. A lot of people talk about the problems, and they don't talk about the solutions. Well, for me, I have a bunker out there. Mine is more of a studio, and it's going to be like a vacation studio. I'm really looking forward to the summers out there, getting out of the grid, being in an area that's very beautiful. But if you guys are looking for a possibility to get in on a kind of like phase one right now at the price point that it's at, if you want a bunker type program, this is the best that I've seen so far. So check it out, TerraVivos.com, and use the code LEAK-PROJECT. If you use the code LEAK-PROJECT, then not only do they know how you heard about them, but also if you purchase a bunker, Robert will offer you, of your choice, either a water filtration system, a solar generator, a small portable solar generator, or a small windmill, so wind turbine. So pretty good opportunity for you. And also, I want to let you guys know about the Quick Bivy. There's a Quick Bivy which fits in the palm of your hand, which is something that could help save your life if you're ever in a situation where you get cold and you need to stay warm. You know, if you go off the side of the road in the wintertime and people don't get to you for a while, if you're going hiking and you get lost, it's called a Quick Bivy. You can put it in your pocket, your backpack, your glove box, under your seat, just about anywhere. And these make great gifts. They're cheap, and it's one of those tools that you should have just in case, because it's so light, it's so cheap. It's one of those things that hope you never have to use, but if you do, it's great to have. People have asked me, what is a Quick Bivy? Well, a Quick Bivy is something that you could literally cover yourself in. It's like a sleeping bag almost, but it's really light, fits in your hand, and it's also something that can repel water. It helps protect your warmth. It'll keep your warmth of your body in, and these things are just awesome. So that's my shameless plug, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with me. Question everything. Be excellent to each other, and be the change you want to see. One area. And with all the strange manipulation that we're seeing with the stratospheric aerosol injections, I wonder if there's more to the story than just possibly other planets that are within orbit. And I want to add to that, you guys, because my official take on Planet X, let's get this settled here. There's definitely a Planet X. There's a Planet 11. There's a Planet 12. There's a Planet 13. There's a Planet 23. There's a Planet 9,999. There's planets more than that. So the official Planet X hypothesis, though, that many people link their minds to because of the neurolinguistic programming tactics that the media and the industrial medical, or not medical, but the mind control industrial complex is so good at using, well, the medical industry as well. People will link Planet X to automatic either Zecharia Sitchin or Nibiru or Doom or ancient prophecies of destruction. And I feel that that might be why there's so much suppression of Planet X and the discussion of these other planets in general, because I will do very neutral discussions on Planet X, and the amount of trolls that come out is just mind-blowing. And I'm not even spreading doom. I'm just showing data and orbits, and I'm even explaining that these planets that are considered to be Planet X, Planet 11, various technologies that are used to pick up what's in the stars or what's in the heavens. And you've seen these satellites for years. They've been, at least 40, 50 years, some of these different radar systems have been in play. And this image right here, I feel, is nothing short of extraordinary. I think this is absolutely awesome. And I'm going to get into details about this image here in a minute. But I also want to share with you some other points of discussion that we are going to have here today. And that is the article that came out, phys.org. This was in 2015. And you can read all about it. I've left the link in the video description box. Will an asteroid 2012 TC4 hit Earth in October 2017? And I find it fascinating how the news works and some of these mainstream articles that get information fed to them. Well, there might be a potentially catastrophic asteroid impact in 2 years, and then people forget about it 2 days later. It's like, well, we told you all about it. It's not our fault you forgot. And there's tons of these things. I actually read back in 2015 even, there were over 1,500 potentially hazardous comets in the Oort cloud, which is outside of the Kuiper Belt. That's just... Ladies and gentlemen, Rex Bear, Leak Project, how the heck are you? Hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. what I am sharing with you right now on the screen, I think is absolutely awesome. And these are Goldstone radar images of definitely looks like an artificial satellite or spacecraft or space junk or something. Now, it's being classified as an asteroid, of course. And even though this is from NASA.gov website, it's not a NASA satellite. It's actually a radar technology that's used here on the ground. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's